Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy. I'm with Concordia Supply, and we're hoping that today will just be a time that encourages you and inspires you, and hopefully also resources you for the good work that you're doing through kids ministries this summer. It's really just been very recently that I've met Ron, and I can tell you in the time that I've met him that I know he has a heart for the church. He also has a heart for kids ministries and for Jesus. So I know you'll be encouraged today. Ron has served the church here in the States, but also in China and Mongolia. And I don't know if we'll have time to hear about that, but someday I want to hear about that, Ron.
Yeah, I'll
He
share.
has served as a college campus pastor and also a kids ministry leader in Sunday school and vacation Bible school. But I think most of his work now is serving the church through businesses like churchleader.com and sermoncentral.com and Outreach Inc. So definitely Ron is a seasoned ministry leader. And I know that we'll all leave here today with ideas that will build our ministries, not just this year, but I think also into our future. So Ron, thanks for all the work you've done for this. And we are really looking forward to it. I'll turn it over to you.
Very good, Amy. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate each of you who've joined us here too. Looking forward to the next 45 minutes to an hour together. And what I'd like to do is share my screen with you. And I've got a PowerPoint that I'm going to share. And this PowerPoint actually will be online. Also, I'll give you the link for that later so that you can feel free to download it and you don't have to feel like you need to write down or memorize everything that I share with you. So here we are in the Shine Your Light training for really helping you train kids to invite other kids to Vacation Bible School. So um, obviously it's brought to you by the people that invited you here. At Concordia Supply, and I'm just so pleased that they've got the vision to do this, and they've got the heart to do it and give it to you and your church as a gift. So the theme verse we've got for the training and for you to share with your kids is quote from Jesus, where he said, "Let your light shine before others." And there's what better outreach of the church is there than VBS for kids to do that with other kids? So, um, so we're talking about an outreach training called Shine Your Light, and why would we do this, and what are the objectives? And first of all, it's to bring more kids in your community to your church, and hopefully that is a lot more kids in your community to your church. Okay, and with that in mind, of course, we want to bring those kids into a friendship with Jesus. So this this third point here is that to make your VBS outreach this year your biggest ever, and really you can double your VBS if you follow the system that we're sharing with you here today, and I think you'll begin to see how that can happen. But that's a serious goal. There is you being able to double your VBS. Of course, doubling your VBS from 2020 to 2021 is probably pretty easy to do because of what COVID did to all of us. But I'm really talking about doubling your VBS from 2019 or 2018 here in 2021, and then again in 2022 and beyond. So what are the keys to success for this Shine Your Light training? And I'll share those. And first of all, it's prayer. And what I would like to do right now is pause for a moment and give our time to God, and then we'll go on from there. So just a moment here. God, we are grateful that you've called us into your ministry, into your kingdom, into working with kids. What a delight it is. And God, we just thank you for how Jesus modeled love for kids and open-heartedness to kids and outreach to kids. And we pray for your blessing on this time and for what will come with it, what follows with the VBS this summer. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. So you praying about your kids' outreach is key, but also inspiring kids and leading kids in praying for the kids they're going to invite is key. Uh, Now, I'm going to share more with you about reward structures, but utilizing reward structures to engage kids is really core to what we're doing here. Um, and getting kids buy-in to this outreach, and the reward structures help with that actually as well. And then parents' support is another key, because you can do it all right, but if the parents aren't supporting you, then it can miss its mark. So parent support is another important one. So reward structures. Let me talk a little bit about these. You know, when we engage kids, we're putting incentives out there in front of them, and there's a universal prize that you will choose to share with the kids. And then there's some big prizes, and we'll be giving you some examples of those in a little bit. But anybody that participates and invites another child to VBS, they get a prize. And I'll talk to you about some of those universal prize options there. Now, the highest performers, those that invite and effectively invite other kids, they get to choose from the big prizes first. Um, and so you say, well, how much should I spend in getting prizes for these kids? And what I would suggest is that you anticipate how many kids are going to participate in your VBS, and that I suggest you invest $3 to $5 average per kid. Now, some child might get a $50 or $100 gift card, and somebody else might get something from the dollar store. But overall, let's say you're going to have 50 kids involved in your VBS. Well, I would suggest you.
Trey Yanks, he is in Ashkelon, Israel. Trey, what's the latest from where you are?
Okay. If
John,
somebody.
the rocket fire continues today. Just a few moments ago, we saw a few incoming rounds intercepted by Israel's missile defense system, the Iron Dome.
Okay,
Some strong words today by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who basically said he would not rule out reoccupying the Gaza Strip if it was needed. Additionally, the Prime Minister here responded to a fourth call by.
Okay, excuse me, and thank you, everybody. So I just muted everybody except myself. But if you'd like to share anything, don't be shy to speak up or ask a question. And that's easy to do by unmuting yourself or just pressing your space bar. That will do it for you too. So, okay, so 50 kids would be 50 times 3 or 50 times 5. That'd be $150 to $250 spent in prizes for the kids. And you can spend more than that if you want, but you think, wow, it's starting to get expensive and making my VBS more expensive. In actuality, if you take the money that you would spend in printing up some fancy brochures or some advertisement in your community and just put that into prizes, I would say if you do what we're saying here, you don't need to advertise your VBS, and you'll see why. So you can just move your advertising money into prizes for the kids. And I think same investment, but bigger bang for your buck. Okay, so somehow I'm thinking that I wanted to give a little bit of background that somehow, I don't know if the slide got dropped or something, but let me give you a little background to this training here. Okay, before we get into the universal prizes, and that is. I was in Mongolia teaching English for 4.5 years and leading the English Language Institute there. And while I was there, I discovered a mode of teaching that really electrified my classroom. And I would say the classroom went from fine and so-so to highly engaged and very exciting. And what I discovered was something called cooperative learning by an educator by a guy named Kagan. And what it does is it utilizes reward structures to involve people. And so I thought, wow, this is working so well. And I used it, once I discovered it, I used it every year in every class to engage my students. But when I came back from Mongolia, and that was in 1996, I came back to my church, Life Point Church, it used to be called First Baptist Church. But when I got to the church, I said, hey, now that I'm back, is there something that I can help with in the church? And they said, well, maybe you could help with VBS this summer. So I got home right before VBS, and I said, wow, that'd be great. And so I said, how about if I help with the marketing of the VBS? And they said, oh, would you please? Because they didn't like to do marketing, and marketing is just kind of something that God's wired me to do. And so I created what was called Kids Invite Training, where I trained the kids to invite their friends, and then trained the parents to support their kids as they invited their friends. And the result of that year was the year before we did 100 kids that were in VBS, and the next year with this Kids Invite Training, we went from 100 to 200. And by the way, that created a little bit of stress on the staff to double, as you can imagine. And so it's good to anticipate the growth and staff accordingly rather than be surprised. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Then later on, I was working for Outreach Incorporated, the publishers of Outreach magazine, and I went to the National Outreach Convention, and I presented a workshop there called Kids Invite Training, and there was a good response to that. But afterwards, there was a guy that came up to me, and he says, I really love what you're doing here. And my name's Larry Fowler, and I'm the director of training for Awana. And he said to me, Larry said, he said, can I use this with Awana? And of course, I got really excited about that. That was a good result in the workshop. And he said, well, how much would I need to pay you? And I said, pay me. You don't need to pay me. Please just use it. So I worked with him in preparing something, and he prepared a national outreach for Awana called The Great Shakeup, using the principles that I'm sharing with you right here. So that's a little bit of the history to the training. And now let's fast forward to the question, well, how did you do that? How did you go from 100 to 200? And just stay tuned, and I'll show you. But what I did during Sunday school, one Sunday school hour in May, we got all of the kids from all of the grades in one room. Okay, and we had, like Amy says, a prize table that was just loaded with prizes, and I had those set aside there for at the beginning. And I basically laid out how we were going to do the outreach that year. And so I've got all these kids on the floor, on the carpet, in the lounge there, and I think there was probably about 70 or 80 kids right there in the training. And I've got this saying that it's never too late to have a happy childhood. And one of the ways that I live that out is I like laser pointers. And so when I play with a laser pointer, I just kind of feel like I'm just experiencing childhood in a rich way. And so you can't see the laser pointer except barely on the screen back there. But when I said to the kids, I didn't say anything at first. I just took the laser pointer and I shined it at the ceiling. And then I moved it around on the ceiling, and they're all looking up at the ceiling. And I moved it back and forth, and their heads went back and forth, and they were very engaged in watching the laser pointer. And I told them, well, we're going to do an outreach this summer, and if any of you will invite a friend to VBS, I will give you a laser pointer. And if they come, I'll give you a laser pointer. And if they don't come, I'll give you a laser pointer. If you invite anybody, I'll give you a laser pointer. And then I said, if your friend comes to VBS, I will give them a laser pointer too. Okay, so you can hear us going on. There's $200 worth of laser pointers going out there, because that's what they cost, is $1 a piece at the Dollar Tree. Now, let me pause for a moment, because I think that you are probably thinking, oh boy, this guy's just training us to create chaos in our church. And in actuality, I am training you to really energize your church and your children's ministry. But I found it actually very manageable, and didn't run into any notable problems, other than the fact that the laser pointers we gave out had 5 different heads on it. And one of those heads had the truck flap lady on the back of the semi trucks, and I didn't realize that. And so that didn't go over very well. But other than that, there weren't any problems with people shining laser pointers in people's eyes, because I found that, and I've given a lot of kids a lot of laser pointers over the years, that when I say to somebody, a child, I said, now, if I let you hold this or I let you have this, will you promise me that you will never shine it in anybody's light, in anybody's eyes? And I make them promise that before I release it to them. And I find kids very serious about that, keeping that promise. And I let them know that if they break that promise, that the laser pointer is going to be taken away, and they don't want it taken away. So I developed a system where it wasn't a problem, and it was very energizing, very engaging, and not problematic. But if for some reason that's something you don't want to do, there is another thing you could do, and you could provide them with a box of Pop Rocks or a bag of Pop Rocks. This is 3 different bags, and it costs $1 at the Dollar Tree. Now, again, I just described to you how the room got very energized, and it was rather energized around the laser pointers. But in your kids' invite training for Shine the Light, one thing you could do is you could bring some extra bags of Pop Rocks and let every kid in the room just taste a little bit of Pop Rocks during the training. And I think similarly to the laser pointer, you're going to have a very energized room. So another approach you could take is not have a physical universal prize, and the universal prize can just be points. And I'll explain to you how the points work. But kids really get motivated by keeping track of points that they earn. And when the points can be redeemed for bigger prizes, sometimes just the points are enough. So there's 3 different options for you: laser pointers, Pop Rocks, and the use of points. So again, the universal prize is something that everybody gets. Now, I've got this $100 Amazon gift card to share, and actually the footer there is incorrect. But if you say to kids, it's like, okay, whoever invites the most and gets the most points gets to choose first, and the big prize is a $100 Amazon gift card, and you can make it 50, you can make it 25, you can make it 250, whatever you want. But what I would suggest is you get the actual prizes like this so that you show them. But you can go down to Walmart and buy a bike for under $100, and you can have that be your prize. Or you can use a PowerPoint and say, did you know that you can get a Fire HD tablet, 32 gigabytes for $89? That means if you win the Amazon gift card, you can get yourself a Kindle Fire. Or you could get yourself a Razor Lux Kick scooter. And that actually only costs $79. You'd have $20 left over to spend on Amazon. Or you could get a longboard skateboard for a windrunner for just $70 and have $30 left over. So, okay, you get the idea. Now, I mean, I will share that I would have a gift table out there, and a big bottle of bubbles as we anticipate summer coming, or we talk about Toy Story stickers or Mickey Mouse stickers or gummy bears. Or you could get a desktop cornhole would be one of the prizes, or maybe some cherry Pop Rocks, tamales, if your church allows you to give away candy. And you got root beer float Mike and Ike's, and then you've got smiley balloons, and you've got Frozen puzzle or a Lion King puzzle. Or I found a quad core tablet for just $20 that you could give away. And kids always like silly putty and Nickelodeon stickers, or a glitter art kit, or I got this remote control car for just $20. And so you get the idea. And when kids see all the different opportunities, they get really engaged, and that's a way to get their buy-in. So this is probably telling you something you already know, but you can go to the Dollar Tree either in the store or online. You can go to Oriental Trading Company, or you can go to their wholesaling source called funexpress.com, or you can go to Amazon or eBay. By the way, you can get astronomy grade lasers. You can get 10 of them for $23, so $2.30 a piece on eBay. So that's another one I didn't put down there, but you can go in the dark and you can point out stars with this in the middle of the night because it's so powerful. So that's another eBay is another opportunity for you there. So some people think, is this biblical to entice people to engage by using rewards? And I'd just like to real quickly say, yes, it is. Jesus often talked about rewards for good works. Now, good works don't earn you salvation, but when you do them from a good heart, they do please God and can be rewarded. Um, so Jesus says in Matthew 10 that a person that gives a cup of water to a little one, they will not lose their reward. And also it says when Jesus comes, he will reward each person according to what they have done. So rewards are really something that God himself uses to help us focus and think long-term towards the future. We've got some resources for training that are available to you. We've got the 5 steps of inviting kids to VBS. Okay, now we're going to talk through this sheet in a minute, but that's a resource that you can just print out and use. It's already done for you. We've got a 5 steps PowerPoint up there so that you can present the steps by PowerPoint, and it's really just a 1 slide PowerPoint that moves you through the different points. And then we've got the kids invite record sheet. Another probably the most important tool you're going to use is the kids invite record sheet. Okay, and then we've got the parents training sheet where you send this sheet out with every kid and you emphasize to each child, it's very, very important that you share this sheet with your parents, because if they invite a kid but you don't offer them a ride, it's more likely they're not going to come. But if you invite them and you offer them a ride, the response rate goes way up. And then there's Shine Your Light logos that you can use. And then there's also a promo video script. Now this video script, you can use it in your own Shine the Light training when you're training the kids to invite their friends, and you can read it to them. Or if you want, and you've got a video team at your church or a video person that wants to turn that into a video, you can do that too. And we're piloting Shine the Light this year, and next year, who knows, we might even provide a video for you as well for that. So, and you can get all of these resources at concordiasupply.com/shine your light. And I checked that out a little bit ago, and Danny and Amy already have that set up with the resources. And so concordiasupply.com/shine your light. Okay, there's a couple, you got the vertical logo and you've got the horizontal logo. Now let's talk about these 5 steps of kids inviting kids to VBS. And you'll find it pretty straightforward, but each one is key. First of all, you want to, utilizing this sheet, have kids identify their friends that they want to know God and to experience VBS. So identification is the first step. The second step is praying for those friends. So after you fill out this sheet, I encourage you to pause right then and let each child pray for each other child that they want to invite to VBS, and ask God to open their friends' hearts to coming to VBS. Third step is you do the actual inviting. You can stop by their house, you can call them, I don't know, kids in elementary school emailing each other, however you can make it happen. Then you want to invite them, but after you invite them, you want to offer them a ride. And by the way, on this sheet right here, the record sheet, you put their name there, and if they invite somebody, they get 1 point. If they offer them a ride when they invite them, they get an extra point. So they double their points just by offering a ride. And then if their friend comes, they get 5 points. And so there's a total of 7 points available for each child that they invite, offer a ride to, and then bring. So, and that's the 5th step, is don't just offer them a ride, bring your friend to VBS. And of course, that's where the parents come, because most elementary kids aren't driving yet. Here's the agenda for you as you do your kids shine the light training. And by the way, you can probably do it in under 30 minutes, the whole training. First of all, you want to do the intro presentation or a video, which we've supplied you the script for. Then you want to present the 5 steps of the invitation process. And I highly recommend that you have these sheets printed out and each child get a copy of this sheet for themselves. And that's just the 5 steps that I provided you on the previous slide. Then you want to walk through the kids' invite record sheet. And by the way, bring pens or pencils so that they can fill them out right there. So you want to walk them through and show them how that works. And then you want to have the big prize rollout that I just kind of did a pseudo job with you there when I showed you all of those prizes. And you could use PowerPoints and Amazon cards, or you can use the physical prizes themselves, but make a big deal out of it. I'll tell you something. I like the movie Napoleon Dynamite, and Uncle Rico goes out and he's selling this Tupperware knockoff, and he takes this box. He's talking to this couple, and they're not interested in the Tupperware at all. But he takes this ship out of this box, and he says, "If you buy these Tupperwares, I'm going to give you this ship too." And the woman nudges her husband, on the side with her elbow, and she just says, "I want that, that ship. I want that." Well, that's what you want to do with the kids, with the prizes. You want them to look like, wow, I'd like to have that. And so get them involved in building up their points. I think our number one winner that year, I think it was 30 kids that she invited to VBS. So anyway, she got to pick first and she deserved it. And then you want to hand out and explain the parent sheet. Okay, and it's just a letter to parents. Mom and Dad, please read this. This year, we're doing a special VBS outreach called Shine Your Light. Shine Your Light is super exciting with lots of prizes and lots of fun. The power of this outreach is kids inviting kids to VBS, and then underline, and parents helping bring the kids that are invited by giving them a ride. Thanks for helping make this year's VBS a huge success. Okay, that's the parent sheet. It's that simple. So that's the simple training agenda for your 20 to 30 minute training that you can do with your kids. Now, another thing I wanted to share with you is that VBS might not mean much to an unchurched family. Some might know it, but a lot of people wouldn't. And so if you choose a name that works, like call it VBS Kids Camp, it's like, oh, Kids Camp, that makes more sense. It's a term. I like a book called Words That Work, and we found that when you call VBS Kids Camp, it's very engaging to the people in the community. Those words work. Or you could just call it Kids Camp by itself, or you could call it Kids Camp with a K, or whatever you want to call it. But I would encourage you to be very careful in naming and communicating about your VBS Kids Camp. So, a note about registrations: if you have a surge in VBS attendance, you're going to need to staff accordingly. And I suggest that you have advanced registration, and I'm probably encouraging you to do something you're already doing, but just in case, I encourage you to have advanced registration so you can anticipate how many kids are coming. And then a final request I'd like to make is, if you are attracting kids who need the gospel to your church, please remember to share the gospel with the kids, because sometimes that important thing gets forgotten. And I went to Mongolia for 4.5 years because there were a lot of people out there that, in fact, when I got there in 1990, there were only 5 Christians in Mongolia in 1990. I got there in early 1992. In 1996, when we left, there were over 10,000 Christians in Mongolia, and now estimates are there's about 60,000 Christians in Mongolia, and Mongolia has become the number 1 missionary sending country in the world per capita. And that's pretty exciting. But wouldn't it be exciting if your church became the number 1 kids inviting to kids to VBS church in your community? So it's the same assignment, just a different audience, and you've got a wonderful audience of kids in your community that need to hear about Jesus. And so I appreciate you coming on this training and getting involved in VBS and considering using Shine Your Light with your church. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the share right now, and if anybody would like to ask questions at this point, I'm all ears. So here we go. That was probably a fire hydrant of information for you there. But okay, so let me see if any of in the chat comments, if we've got any questions. Oh, yeah, great. Got the thank yous and yes on the remote car. Okay, yeah, good. So I'm interested to hear from you if you're interested in doing this and if you have any questions about it. Okay, so let's see here. Roger just said, any strategies for community-based outreach in rural areas? Okay. So my suggestion is that, if it's not convenient to go knock on the door and hand out the invitation to VBS, and by the way, I didn't create an invitation to your VBS in the supplies because I don't know what your VBS is being branded as. So that's something that you would want to do and have physical invitations to send out to people. Roger, I would suggest that if that's your situation, I would emphasize the telephone. If they can't go out and actually knock on the doors of their neighbors, and that's not going to happen, then I would encourage kids to call kids and invite them by telephone. And anybody else have any ideas on that, please feel free to speak up and share. So Josh asked the question, do I have any advice on canvassing? So by canvassing, I assume you are meaning that you just go out and invite everybody and knock on every door. If you go to Outreach Incorporated, they have VBS door hangers. And I think that I would think that Concordia's got some sort of invitation that you could canvass with and hit lots of different homes. But in actuality, I love the idea of going far and wide and inviting everybody in the entire zip code of your church. And so I'm very supportive of that. But I will say that this training it's really built on the network of relationships that the kids already have. And I think you're going to find a lot more success when you've got a kid who knows a kid, inviting them, and then a parent they trust picking them up and bringing them, and so that you're overcoming this big barrier that would be a little bit intimidating. But by all means, don't let me in the least bit discourage you from doing canvassing. So yeah, and Melissa, you asked if we can get a copy of this recording, and yes, I will provide that to Danny and Amy, and they can post it on the concordiasupply.com/shineyourlight link too. And so yes, that can be available. Oh, and I see your email there, and I can send you the link directly too. So very good. Okay, great. Thanks, Danny. It'll be posted on the link that he just put in there in the comments. So yeah, Carl, I want to give you a special mention and just say thank you so much for your smiling face during the training. I love it when I'm on Zoom and I've got one or two people that will, just give me the human touch and the bright smile. So thank you for that. So there we go. Amy, do you have any other comments or questions, or do you want to share anything about Concordia and VBS?
On the spot a little bit, but sure. I feel like maybe I'll just tell you all about my role. I get the privilege of working with VBS directors every year, and this has been an unusual year. Of course, we all know, coming out of this pandemic, but my role is just talking with directors on the phone and helping them not just with their programming, but imagine what their VBS can be. You know, we kind of try to go back to the why do we do VBS? And what we've talked about today really touches on that why. We want kids to have the opportunity to take the next step in their faith journey, whatever that is. You know, God willing, we're talking with people who, or kids who have never met Jesus or even entered a church before. We've also got kids who are growing up in homes where maybe they're homeschooled and they have a Bible class at home every day. And VBS just has the ability to meet each child wherever they are in their faith journey. So it's just such an important ministry, and goodness, such a fun one. I'm just so thankful for the work that I get to do as I talk to directors all day long. So I'll just put a plug in. If you want to talk through your VBS, whether it's about your programming or modifications or things like this, how do we get turnout? Reach out to me at amy@concordiasupply.com. And my name is amy@concordiasupply.com.
Very good. Thank you for that, Amy. Danny has just posted on here just an encouragement for you to give us feedback. You know, this is our first time through with this, and we want to do it again next year, or we could even do it again this year if we needed to. But if you end up using this training or have more questions, please do email amy@concordiasupply.com directly. And she's just a wonderful resource and wonderful to work with. I can attest to that. So very good. Josh, thanks a lot for your good word there, and appreciate you joining us as well as Juan Hua and Brittany and Rachel and Jeff and Denise and Roger and Danny and Steve and Carla. So thank you all for joining us, as well as some that have already had to drop off. So, you know, you see my name right there, Ron Forseth, but I say that because my email address is ronforseth@gmail.com. So if I can be of any support to you, that's how you can reach me too. There we go. That was efficient. We're 40 minutes in and we're done, Amy. So thanks a lot, everybody. And I will be sending the link for the recording over to you here shortly as soon as it downloads.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. God bless you. Yeah, go get them.